The hail came in on Corridor Watch 7 at 0412 ship time, flagged low priority by the board and routed to my console anyway, because Petty Officer Anseth has never once in 4 years let a low priority flag stop her from waking me. "Captain, you'll want this one." "I want most of them. That's the job." But I came up to the bridge in yesterday's undershirt because something in her voice wasn't routine, and Anseth's voice is the most routine thing I know. The waveform on her screen was thin and ragged, the kind of signal that's been stretched too far and patched too many times. Sector string read 11 digits off true. Somebody had keyed a coordinate header for a destination nowhere near us, and the header had failed, and failed the particular way that dumps the packet onto whatever frequency is listening hardest. Ours was listening. Ours is always listening. The Sundered Reach Corridor Watch band has been live since before I was born, monitoring for drift traffic out of a war that ended before I was born too, and 9 years and 3 things had ever come down it. Weather telemetry, a dead beacon doing its dead beacon loop, and once, a birthday message that arrived 40 years late to a man who died 31 of them ago. This wasn't weather, this wasn't a loop. "Run it again," I said. She ran it again. A voice under the static, slowed by the corruption to half speed and pitched wrong, in a dialect the translator flagged as Vethic adjacent, unregistered subdialect, 81% confidence. The words it gave back, cleaned up as much as cleaning ever does. "Anyone, if this reaches anyone, I am at the old platform, the one they stopped funding, the one nobody comes to. I built something I should not have built, and I cannot unbuild it alone, if this reaches anyone." Then 19 seconds of carrier hiss, and then nothing. "Source?" I asked. "Triangulating," Anseth said, and 30 seconds later, "Derelict research platform, designation lost, sitting dead in the Havorson Drift. No registry hit. No transponder. Whoever sent this did it off a jury rig, Captain, patched a transmitter together out of platform scrap and aimed it at a header that should have taken it home. Wherever home is. It's not us." That was the part that sat wrong in my chest before I could even say why. Whoever this was hadn't called us. Hadn't called anyone, probably, had keyed a string meant for some silent emergency channel his own people kept, some last resort frequency for exactly this kind of moment, and miskeyed it. And the miskey had bounced 11 digits sideways into a band an extinct war left wide open on our side of the line. We weren't the audience, we were just listening. "Distance," I said. 40 minutes at flank. I didn't think about it as long as I should have. That's not false modesty. I've gone back over the decision more times than I want to admit, and I still don't think about it any differently. A man had said if this reaches anyone into the dark, not expecting anyone, and it had reached us, and the math of what we owed him for that didn't run through any chain of command. It ran through Anseth's voice, and the 19 seconds of hiss, and the fact that we were 40 minutes away and nobody else was anything at all. "Helm, flank speed, Havorson Drift, that platform's last known position. Anseth, keep working the signal. I want a name if there's one in there, and I want to know what something I should not have built asterisk means before we're close enough for it to matter." She found the name 11 minutes out, buried under a registry tag in the corrupted packet header, a personnel designation from a research consortium that had stopped existing as a going concern about the same time the platform stopped getting funded. Dr. Eshin Korvath, Applied Energetics. Last listed posting, Orbital Weapons Research, Classified, Consortium Internal, terminated. She found what he'd built 9 minutes out, when the platform's own automated systems, still drawing trickle power off a reactor nobody should have left running, answered our approach hail with a status broadcast he hadn't sent and probably didn't know was going out. A containment field at 40% and dropping, wrapped around something that read, on our sensors, like a captured piece of a star. Not a weapon in the conventional sense. A weapon in the sense of a man alone, for years deciding that if no one would listen to him, He would build something the whole sector would have to. He's not trying to use it, Anseth said quietly, reading the decay curve. Captain, I don't think he ever meant to use it. I think the containment's failing because he's been the only one maintaining it, and he can't anymore. And he just told the dark he was about to fail at something, and the dark happened to be us. We came up on the platform in full daylight. The drift runs close enough to its primary that the wreck sat lit gold and hard-edged against the black, every scorch mark and patchweld visible. A structure built for 40 researchers and currently holding exactly one. I had Anseth open a clean channel and hail him direct, plain language. No encryption, nothing that would read as a threat to a man who'd spent however long alone with something that could end him. It took him almost a full minute to answer. When he did, his voice was the one from the recording, rough but no longer slowed, no longer corrupted, just a man, badly tired, working out in real time that the ship outside his cracked viewport wasn't the one he'd called. "You're not Consortium," he said. "You're not, I didn't aim that at you. I didn't even know your band was live." "We know," I said. "It bounced. 11 digits near as we can tell. We picked it up because we were listening and you were loud enough to hear." There was a long quiet on the line. I watched him through the optical feed. A thin man in a stained jumpsuit standing at a console that was mostly held together with field tape, one hand resting flat against the containment readout like he could feel the field failing through the glass. "I called the only channel I had left," he said. "I didn't think it still worked. I didn't think anything still worked." Another pause and then quieter. "I did not call you." "No," I agreed. "You called whoever was supposed to answer that string and nobody did, and we did instead. We're not the help you were asking for. We're the help that happened to be 40 minutes away and listening on the wrong band." He laughed at that, one short broken sound that wasn't really a laugh. "Close enough," he said. "Close enough," I told him, and meant it as the whole answer it was. Getting him off and getting the field stabilized took most of the next 2 hours, and none of it makes for much of a story. Chief Wren's containment team going in on a tether with portable dampeners while Korvath, calm now in the specific exhausted way of a man who stopped having to carry something alone, talked them through 3 years of patchwork engineering choices in flat, precise sentences. We didn't save the star fragment. We boxed it, eventually, in a field strong enough to hold, while we figured out somewhere safer to put it than near anyone at all. We didn't save the platform either. It wasn't built to be saved, just to be survived, and it had done that exactly once for exactly one man for exactly as long as it took. What we saved was him. He sat in our infirmary afterward, wrapped in a blanket that was the wrong color for his skin and didn't fit him at all, and asked Anseth, not me, her, because by then she was the voice he knew, whether we were going to report this to his consortium. "Your consortium's gone," she said gently. "Has been for a while." "Then who do I answer to?" She didn't have a good answer for that, and neither did I still don't. 4 months later, filing this report into a system that has no box for a man called for help on a channel that ceased operating before the war that made it necessary had even finished, and we happened to be the only ones in the dark who heard him. I've written a great many incident reports. Most of them I forget by the time I file the next. This is the one I keep coming back to. On the nights the bridge is quiet and Anseth's running some other low-priority flag past my door, not because of what Korvath built, which is sitting now in a containment vault 3 systems from anything, with a guard rotation that doesn't fully trust it. I keep coming back to the 19 seconds of hiss after his voice cut out, before we knew anyone was alive to hear it. He didn't aim that signal at us. He aimed it at nothing he believed was still listening, on a frequency he kept for an emergency he'd stopped expecting anyone to answer. We were just 40 minutes out and awake, and the band was open. That's the whole report, really. Everything else is just the part where we did the only decent thing available to us, which was show up.